from the industry that you're in, is there anything that you think from after the mixing desk, so in terms of amplifiers, speakers, the way that they're hung, the way that they're designed, is there anything you think, I wish they'd invent that?
Yeah, I mean, certainly, yeah, like I say, television is a visual medium, so no one wants to see the hardware. And, you know, we're constantly being sort of, or they'll cut up a wide shot and we'll see a microphone or we'll see a speaker in the shot, and we'll be told, can you get that out of the shot? You know, and we're already ridiculously high on the PA. We've already got ridiculously high audience mics, but we're told to go even higher on that. So yeah, hardware that's even less visible would be good, I guess. But you know, that's a challenge we're always having to face, unfortunately.
How many OBs do you get to do an outside broadcast as well?
Yeah, I mean, one of the really good things about our jobs has been that we've worked on such a variety of shows, and one of the nurturing things about the BBC traditionally was that you'd start off in a studio and then they'd sort of put you on different types of programmes. So we work across a whole variety of things, from a sitcom where you learn to operate a boom, for instance, and all those craft aspects of sound, that was all part of your learning experience. So learning about miking up, miking techniques, miking a band, operating a boom, setting up an audience. And this was before you ever went and touched the mixing desk. You'd have to do, if you like, that time. But that would be across a variety of shows, live television shows, Blue Peter, for instance, sitcoms, quiz shows, but also sports shows as well. So, you know, you get the opportunity to work on foreign events as well. I mean, one of the first sports, the first sports OB I worked on was the Olympics in 2000 in Sydney, and it was just amazing, just funny to have the opportunity to do that. Fantastic. So, you know, we were very lucky to have that sort of vast experience, just that.
Do you get to travel, Steve?
Europe, Japan, China, and also America with the
touring productions.
Yeah, with the Royal Ballet and the Royal Opera. Yeah, no, absolutely. Very, very fortunate. Yeah, absolutely. And it, you know, it's something that's very rare. That you know, I think the National have done quite extensive touring as well. But I think it's mainly in the theatre world. It's kind of almost limited to the larger companies that are able to do that, to find sponsors in order to do that. But certainly, I feel very privileged in being able to do that.
Any more questions from the floor?
Could I just come back to
yes, of course.
I think what has happened in over the last 10, 15 years is manufacturers have got far more aware of what the industry needs. So the BBC used to be, there's this lovely expression that I was, an elephant is a mouse to BBC spec, which I love, because that's the way the BBC used to build things. They'd always be in the big grey box, and everything was panelled with dark oak or mahogany, and that's the way the BBC did, and you could run a steamroller over it and it wouldn't break. Well, we don't do that anymore. We buy in all the research department is tiny. Our engineers tend to fix local problems, but then if it's any more than a local problem, then it goes back to the manufacturer. And I think this has encouraged manufacturers to produce bits of kit that are of use to us, and they are now coming to us with bits of kit. And as Andy just said, you know, sound must never be seen. You know, I did a show 2 weeks ago when I was amazed that I was allowed to put a coincident pair mic in front of a choir in shot. And I'm going to write that down in my diary, because that meant 2 microphones being seen on television, whatever next. It was 8 out of 10 cats does a countdown actually. But going back, but
I'd like to see 8 out of 10 cats does songs of praise.
That would be very
it would certainly be interesting.
Yeah. Fantastic.
But the kit is coming to us. You know, the K-Array Cobra, which is an amazing system that I don't know how it works really, but it's tiny speakers that if you have an in-vision audience, the last thing you can do is to put PA speakers above the audience, because they'd be in every single shot. So you just thread some KOA coppers underneath the seats and it works and everybody can hear. So the kit is almost coming to us now. And because of our relationship with manufacturers now, and through magazines like PSN, you know, people are becoming more and more aware of what's needed. So, and we can go to companies now and say, we want a bit of kit that does that, and they might well then say, oh well, we've got this, or we've got that. And the BBC has to be very careful. We can't be seen. We use Studer sound desks, but other sound desks are available, because we're not allowed to be seen promoting. We pick a piece of kit that is appropriate for our need at that time. But the kit is always changing. And it's great, the manufacturers are coming to us now saying, we've got this gadget, would you like to borrow it for an indeterminate amount of time? And sometimes we give it back.
So I think also, to be fair as well, what's happened in the industry over the last 15 to 20 years is that it's coming back in a way, but for so long it disappeared because the bean counters took over and didn't allow the manufacturers to loan that equipment. And that was such a shame as well. And I think what's happened is that there's been a change in a way, because what I remember, by Dynamic or whoever would say, here's half a dozen microphones, please go out and use them. And then all of a sudden, that disappeared for such a long time because the accountant said, well, you've got all this stock that's not doing anything. Why aren't you selling it? And I think that disappeared for so long. And I think that's slowly coming back now because the realisation is there that, in actual fact, people do need to think about, is it fit for purpose, and getting it out there and demonstrating it more and more. And I think that's slowly coming around again. And I think that's a big change, and that's very important.
There's another element to that, which is that when these suppliers or manufacturers bring their equipment in, they're exposing that equipment, I mean, good or bad, to young technicians, generally young, bright technicians, and they take that with it. I mean, I remember when I was young, I'd align myself to brands because I trusted them, and I think that that opportunity exists now, and that's a lot of what we're doing. We've got Digico and Sennheiser and Shaw, and we've got all sorts of manufacturers coming in, and just desperate to get their products out there and in front of these fantastic students as well that are now coming out of, I mean, in our instance, theatre schools, with 3 years of really comprehensive and detailed training, and the moment is then when they come into big organisations like ours and use this equipment.
Yeah, there's no doubt the education levels at the moment are astonishingly good, right across the board. I mean, I was at Audion yesterday in Hampshire. That's their biggest market. It's a really nice analogue product or something. Talent into education establishments to show you how routing works. It's the best way of showing it to kids, and that's how they get to